Hello everybody, welcome back to the Chuuni grind. This is Twintail back here. This time I decided to make myself go kill again because I've been getting a little boring just being my regular old me. But we're going to go ahead and get right into another Shadowverse of all videos, so we're going to do the intro and get right into it. So, you might have heard us say in a few videos past that the current Booster 603 Flame of Laevateinn has been this quality of life increase to the Shadowverse Evolved game as a whole. And now that we're in these winding down, we're about 2 weeks away from the next booster, BP04 Cosmic Mythos, we're going to go ahead and take this time to reflect upon what it is about this specific booster that really allowed us to have that quality of life increase that we've been touting. So to kind of give a background, when the game first started off with the 6 starter decks, BP01 Advent of Genesis, and kind of moving from there into BP02 Reign of Bahamut and Collaboration Booster 01 Uma Musume Pretty Derby, the game was kind of in this whoever draws the nuts first more or less wins, barring no major misplays or anything of that sort. And people kind of like that, it kind of allowed the pretty much say a high roll class by nature of say Dragoncraft just win for no real reason because of that, dragging Oracle on curve into all the other things that Dragoncraft can do can just snowball very, very quickly just because of that one key card alone sort of deal. And people were really, really not having fun with that. So we're going to go ahead and kind of break it down from the neutrals again, class by class, as to how it is that Flame of Laevateinn led to this increased quality of life. So we begin with no other than the neutrals. Gotta get them out of the way because, I was wondering when I explored, there's a reason why she's fetching top dollar. The ability for her to go effectively 3-for-1 a lot of the time with the fact that she is going to evolve, so she's going to be able to, at bare minimum, trade with a follower, then get up to 2 new Fable cards into your EX area, which is basically a public hand. That's very powerful. And that Fable card that you can transfer in, onto the board, into the EX area to set up for nasty things like the preferred finishers of Beauty and the Beast in Fable Forest or King Soldier in Fable Burn Havencraft. They can get out of hand very, very quickly. There's a reason why some people kind of go and play a certain other neutral from way back when they deal with this, maybe. And complementing her is Atmospheria to continue to tack on those easy counters while also being a Goblin coin like 1 cost 2/2 stat line. So good, so powerful, what a great enabler. And on top of that, we also have to talk about none other than Humpty Dumpty and Explosion. These 2 cards, they do a lot. They wipe the board, they do burn damage. They're very good in classes that can really use them very, very well. Both Runecraft has always been going to be like that face burn damage class with the likes of what it already has in its disposal, and its access to some very powerful draw power means that it can play these cards with little consequence. And of course, Havencraft is already infamous for using this. People I kind of call it semi-mistakenly calling Egg Haven, even though, yes, those egg cards are a key part of the win condition. I will not really call them, say, the focus, so to say. But now we're going to go ahead and tackle down things class by class. This is kind of where I need to have a little bit of a note sheet. I don't have no fancy teleprompter or anything like that on my end, so I'm going to kind of do this very, very weirdly. I'm also clearing out a disembodied voice, not to say I guess a bad thing. So, Forestcraft, we have the new Tweedledee, Tweedledum. They can let the class go 2-for-1 now. They will most likely contribute into that 1 cost card. There are very good 1 cost cards in Forestcraft. Think Elfchild Maid, Nature's Guidance. The list kind of goes on. Being a solid 3/3 as an evolve, pretty solid. Beauty and Beast is very sad. Guys, that couple is why Fable Forest is even a thing. Having that aura and usually storm, basically unanswerable. You better hope that you're kind of racing this class. Basically, you don't set up on time. That thing's kind of scary. It gets out of hand very, very fast. And while we're on the subject of Fable Forest, Woodland Band, again, it tries to grab something from the top 4 while also being that extra Fable counter transfer in that Fable Forest deck to really tack on the hurt from Beauty and the Beast setups. So that card is very, very crucial there. And Flower Princess just happens to find her way into, of course, Fable Forest, obviously, as well as some, face forest decks, just because she does help to tackle on opposing boards that are building up a little too quickly. We can kind of go into why some decks are kind of starting to build up boards a little faster. And, on top of that, Fable Forest is also wants to be able to buy turns, so Magical Fairy Lyra is just a way to also do that. As we see, like Forestcraft, kind of with both Fable options as well as tokens that the card pool offers, is able to play a more stable game. It's not need to rely on hoping it gets the right things at the right time. Oh, okay, sure, I could Crystallia Kia on curve. Well, not on curve, but I could Crystallia Kia combo 3, and then like make an overwhelming board on turn 4, curve out Ancient Elf into a 5/5, or silence Suzuka my opponent when they have just like the one targetable ward and really make my opponent QQ as a result. Forestcraft can go beyond that sort of strategy. And moving on over to Swordcraft. Swordcraft really got a lot of quality of life bumps. The new heroic archetype, that game allows it to go mega ballistic, mega aggro, mega fast, mega quick. The fact that Valiant Fence is a tutor and Mirror can play things from the cemetery, you have actual recursion and even more toolboxing on top of the toolboxing that Swordcraft's already known for. That deck gets out of hand quickly. It's kind of one of the decks to fear at the moment. I've been at the receiving end of it myself. Not fun when they curve heroic entry. Yes, it's still a little sacky, but it's one of those things that it encourages you to build your deck a certain way to get the most profit, as opposed to, oh, maybe I draw a Royal Banner on curve while my board is still alive from turns 1, 2, and 3 sort of deal. And Old Man, Old Woman just being a very good 1-drop, 1/2 with Bane, One of Swords, major weaknesses for just running into a very, very big ward in the mid game that would soak up bare minimum 2 followers. Nah, here's one Old Man, Old Woman. It's gone. The rest of my followers can attack, shoot that face damage, and really, really get the pressure rolling very, very quickly. So those are very powerful things that Sword has definitely appreciated, definitely allows it to go even more aggressively, more consistently as a result. That's why it's been able to become one of the main contenders in the current Flame of Laevateinn meta. And moving from there, we go over to Runecraft. This one might seem a bit of a funky one, but I think if we take the time to digest what we see in the Runecraft card pool, we will find that it too did receive some pretty nice benefits. Wizardess of Oz, or her Lily Parfait, Wicked Calamity, Alt Art. This card unironically sees better use in, say, Spell Chain by being a 6 cost that can turn your next spell into a cost -4 because of the fact that she creates that max excitement for you. You would think that this would be better in, say, Dirt, but I think most people have kind of figured out that this works far better in the likes of Spell Chain, just to be able to get that extra play point economy sort of deal. And you also establish some pretty nice board presence, as a 6/6, as a 6 cost 4/4. Again, too shabby given the fact that you are going to get a 4 cost or lower spell for free onto the table right then and there. And for some reason she still survives. You can even do it as a quick on the opponent's turn. You do play other Dirt cards, but chances are, basically the idea is up to 10 play points worth of economy for the turn you would play Wizards of Oz / Lily Parfait. And getting more from there to Phallus Leah Nargan Mage. This one's a very, very nice one because of the fact that she is going to interact with both Spell Chain and Earthlight keywords. So if you use it as Spell Chain 7, she's a alchemical lore on legs, which is very, very handy. In general, Runecraft's not known for not being able to deal with wide boards a lot of the time. Alchemical lore is kind of too slow because of its 5 costs, so that is handy to have. And if you're playing Dirt, Seeker Earthright, you have Storm, it's a 4/4 body that is honestly, or it's a 4/5 body that is honestly it's not too shabby whatsoever. Then we have Mr. Hangling, Shadow Mage. This guy is hilarious, this guy. It's kind of the same deal with Wizards of Oz / Millie Parfait, Witch of Calamity, where he is trying to get you extra play point economy on the turn you play him with his Fanfare Mill ability. On top of that, he's just able to set up Spell Chain quite quickly for a 5-drop, as opposed to the likes of having to rely on sequencing a bunch of Insights, Trailer Lights, and Sorcery Caches. So that does help quite a bit. And again, he's board presence, which is something. And then we have, for Dirt, Gingerbread House / It's a Sweets Buffet. These 2 cards give that very, very much needed life gain to Dirt. Dirt has to kind of play the long game a little bit, and this being a 1-drop that just heals 3 incidentally, that's very, very handy. That does help Dirt Room quite a bit, as we're going to see into later sets. And of course, we have to talk about Witch's Cauldron / the Cauldron of Calamity. This card is effectively a pseudo 2-for-1 in the fact that it is an Earth Sigil to be used later with your Earthright abilities, and that it can attempt to grab you these Earthright ability cards from the top 4 cards of your deck. So I think that's another key 1-drop that Dirt Room really, really appreciate. Now Dirt Room has 3 1-cost Earth Sigils that it could play, and it will not feel bad. We have Kitchens of Creation, Gingerbread House / It's a Sweets Buffet, and Witch's Cauldron / Cauldron of Calamity. These are all very powerful 1-drops for Runecraft. They can now have generally better opening hands more often as a result. So then we'll move on to Dragoncraft. Dragoncraft gang is kind of like Runecraft, where we think that the card pool that they shown us is not all that impressive, but if we kind of take a step back and just read them, digest them a bit better, we will find that they do allow for some very nice interactions. Any deck that's playing a lower curve can take advantage of Draconier Knuckle Dragon to be effectively a better Dragon Warrior. He comes in, gives you a draconic weapon that you can then use to arm another allied dragon follower, give that the 1 defense, and then it gets the armed trait. Then Draconier Knuckle Dragon can then evolve to deal 4 to something. He's effectively a walking, make some noise from the Uma Musume universe. That's very powerful, and this guy will just end up paying dividends as Dragon decks continue to want to play a lower curve in general. Think when we go into Caustic Miracles, we're going to definitely go over previewing a very, very low curve deck compared to what Dragon typically wants to play because of its nature of having access to ramp and all. And speaking of Draconier being in the Armed archetype is also very good in those lower curve decks in general to just be able to generate those draconic weapons while doing some damage to board, face, whatever. Very, very handy to make for more of a lower curve, possibly even aggro deck that I've seen toyed around in my own local environment. It is scary if it goes off, and Dragoncraft's already known for having access to incidental storm damage for out of nowhere. Think Dark Dragoon 4K, Ogre Recap, Genesis Dragon, and of course we have Dragon Summoner. Dragon Summoner is a very, very handy card for those lower curve decks to be able to just keep being able to flesh out new low cost followers. Again, kind of being in the same idea as Tweedledum where she'll be a 2-for-1 that she'll most likely trade with a follower while getting you that Dragon follower from the top 3. That's very, very nice. No, this definitely beats having to play something like Dragon Emissary and you just simply do a 1-for-1 with that card. The reason why pretty much none of us really play it outside of, say, the Jabberwock attack. Jabberwock's a funny card, we'll not really call it a quality of life increasing card, but hey, you have been successful with the guy, all the power to you. And then we move on to Abysscraft. Abysscraft, again, it's one of those On the surface, it doesn't look like it's been improved all that much, but if we think about how it could interact with other cards in the Abysscraft card pool, we do find some very powerful interactions. We have to start off with none other than Dark Alice. Dark Alice, she has Rush, she's a 6/6. She's able to strike, the opponent discards a card of choice. That's cooling off, but what we really care about is her last words. When she goes to the cemetery, on the field, you can banish the top 10 cards of your deck to bring her back. I know it sounds kind of bad on paper, but anyone who knows the Abysscraft card pool, you have Cerberus from way back in BP01 Advent of Genesis. Use her plus her Evolved to generate 2 Coco tokens that can boost anything by 2 attack. And you combine that with an Azazel Evolved from BP02 Ring of Bahamut. The opponent's life goes down to 10. Dark Alice survived because you brought her back. Use these 2 tokens from EX area. Boost her attack from 6 to 10. Opponent has no wards. They don't. Once their time period, just kind of curving out on their own turn. Smacking for 10. Next game. Very, very powerful card. And of course, we also have Demonium Punk Devil. This little guy is so good. He's a ward that also gives you life as last words. And you really have to. He can also get Bane to have a life wash to be able to deal with a problematic card. That ain't too shabby. I think Demonium is a pretty nice way for slower Abysscraft decks to survive just a tad bit longer to finish off opponents. And might be going some aggro bursts because a 2-3 stat line that can give you that extra life to maybe survive a bit longer doesn't sound all that bad. And it could be kind of like old man, old woman. You could purposely, give yourself some life. And unlike the likes of Spectre, that life loss will not be permanent. Though she does have Rush, so kind of a trade-off, or you could play both to deal with those pesky wards and so on. And a choice that may not seem too obvious, I have heard about people trying to toy around with the likes of Furtive Fangs to allow a follower to take out multiple things at once. I think this is kind of best combined with the likes of Soul Dealer, who could evolve to take out something and heal life based on that. Then he's evolved so he could attack into an engaged follower. If we combine it with Furtive Fangs, we can then use that to deal damage to another follower. So in the rest scenario, a Soul Dealer plus Furtive Fangs could be 3 of your opponent's things gone. That is pretty nice. Because, Abysscraft's not really known for being able to take out multiple followers in general. So it can just get overwhelmed easily by the likes of very wide decks like Heroic Sword. And of course, we're going to end it with none other than Havencraft. Havencraft, we'll first start with the more respectable archetypes, like I say. The Gemstone Engine allows Havencraft to move away from its control nature towards playing more of this aggro, mid-range style of deck that can punch into your opponent's face and still kind of stall out a little bit more and go into the likes of Diamond Master to become a lightning rod for things like opposing silver bolts or other things that just do a bunch of targeted face damage. That is pretty powerful to do. Then, of course, when we talk about Burn, we have to talk about none other than the Fable Burn Haven deck. Alice's Adventure being a tutor is powerful. Mortar's Key Time being both a summon from top 5 and an activated to bring back a cost 3 or lower Fable from the cemetery. That thing is too powerful for what it does, in my opinion. Pinion Prince is another way to bring back key cards from the cemetery, especially when used off of Mortar's Key Time to effectively reduce his cost by 1. That is also powerful. Not to mention that both Pinion Prince Evolved and Alice's Adventure to give something Rushing Assail. That could be very powerful against what opponents might think is a safe position. Fable Burn Haven just goes, nope. And of course, King Soldier is kind of the other cornerstone as to what makes Fable Burn Havencraft a very potent and powerful deck, especially moving forward into the upcoming BP04 Cosmic Mythos. So with that, as we see, every class has benefited in a very significant way where their opening hands and mulligans feel more rest assured. No one deck feels that if they chew the nuts, they automatically win. You know, there are ways that people can actually tempo out the game, incrementally build up and impede the process of their opponents to prevent them from snowballing away with a so-called guard roll. So we do find that the format is far more tempo oriented as opposed to things getting way out of hand very, very quickly, kind of with more of that like control combo dynamic that we saw during the first 3 expansions of the game. So hope you all enjoyed this little discussion on BP03 Flame of Laevateinn as to how it brought a quality of life increase to the game of Shadowverse Evolve. Be sure to continue to embrace the darkness, and we will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.